Hello and welcome to today's internet, the only place where the greatest works of the greatest musical genius can be given a mark out of 10 by someone with a hole in their t-shirt. Yes, each movement of each of Beethoven's quartets gets a mark out of 10, marks are averaged and quartets ranked, so as to find... I've already made a guide to these 16 wonderful works, links above. I asked you guys in the community section if you'd prefer an introduction or a ranking video, and a few of you said both, so here we are. I promise you an entirely new video, a companion piece if you like, to my introduction video. Talking of high culture, don't forget to check out my other channel, Enjoy Everything Else, where I am attempting to discover the greatest rock album of all time from a classical music perspective. But now, the talking must stop, because we have 16 quartets to deal with, meaning in 16th and last place... Studying your own cognitive bias when making videos like this, I have discovered, can reveal interesting stuff. In other words, there's actually information in the gap between what I think I like and what I actually mark high. For example, my assumption in these rankings is that we're basically going to be going chronologically, and that's based on the assumption that Beethoven's work gets better as he ages, which it generally does. Enjoy classical from the future here. That's an incorrect assumption. Twists to follow. But now back to the original edit. And amazingly enough, we start off with Opus 18 and my least favourite, C minor. It's a good quartet, but good kind of says it all in the context of what Beethoven will do with the string quartet. He's still, being Beethoven, pushing at conventions, so for example, no slow movement in the middle. And can I point out the slightly disappointing use of the C minor key? That key will be far more important for Beethoven in future. The most standard Haydn-esque quartet of the Opus 18-6, but we walk yet amongst the foothills with magnificent mountain ranges ahead. If the D major is Haydn-esque, and spoiler alert, the G is even more so, then the A is much more Mozart adjacent. I have a soft spot for this quartet and would have assumed it an Opus 18 top 3 ranking, but if that's a surprise, here comes an even bigger one. A tie? Number 6 in B flat I expected to be rather high. Of all these first 6 quartets, the B flat feels the most forward looking one, the one facing the future. There's power and ambition in it, and I can see why Beethoven put it last, the 6. More surprising, I never expected the G to score this high, and honestly, I'm not sure it deserves to be with the B flat. But the Haydn is strong in this one, and it's still surprisingly good. 2 words applicable for all 6 of these Opus 18 quartets. Beethoven is matching, and I think sometimes outmatching his contemporaries in these quartets, but he's fighting in their arena, not his own. That will change after this Opus 18 set, when Beethoven will really find his own voice. Talking of which, we have an incoming shocker. First proper upset of the night. They might pummel me on the internet, but as Monty Python would say, Oscar Wilde would say, I would say...
There is only one thing in the world worse than being...
pummeled by the internet.
And that is...
not being pummeled by the internet. Anyway, forgive me, Beethoven purists. In 11th place, we have... Chronology broken. Okay, that number 11 is a big jump into the future, and sitting rather ironically in 11th place. It's a bit of an experimental work. If Beethoven had written no more quartets, I'd probably be rating this one higher than I am, but once you know what's coming up, you can't help finding number 11 a little disappointing. Anyhow, that leaves us with the top 10, so at number 10... highly accomplished work this, particularly that classy second movement. No surprise, Beethoven led the set with this one, even though it wasn't composed first. Okay, if we're thinking chronologically, it's going to be Razumovsky quartets next, and it's a Razumovsky, alright? So, how could I have marked this wonderful quartet just a quarter of a mark higher than the Opus 18 number 1? It's clearly better than that. Well, I'd conjecture that I'm unconsciously marking these quartets in sets. Number 1 in F stands out against its contemporaries, 2 to 5, so I grade it relatively high, whilst number 8 in E minor has gone through a reverse process of bias, with me down marking it against the outer 2 Opus 59 quartets. And yet again, I think my bias actually reveals something interesting about these works. Yes, I'm thinking about them in sets because that's how Beethoven wrote them. Look at the record. 14 of the 16, nearly 90% written with other quartets in 3 sets. And the quartets in each set do make more sense with the others. Whilst the 2 quartets that were written on their own perhaps suffer a little aesthetically from that loneliness. A theory backed up by the next spot. Another small glitch in the matrix with my old favourite, the harp, losing out to those pesky major key Razumovskys. It's a wonderful, masterful work, this. A real controlled masterpiece. Brilliant. In fact, everything up to this point, and before this point, because you've got to include the E minor, and beyond this point, is brilliant, or beyond brilliant. Even so, next up, we have another tie. Yes, the 2 outer Razumovsky quartets, rather pleasing to have them tied here. Sometimes the numbers do deliver a little order. Although, if I'm really honest, these numbers just don't work. I mean, the finale of number 9 is one of my absolutely favourite things ever. It's so fast and furious, I love it. Amazing stuff with a great Beethoven gag at the end. I can't give it 10 because I've got other things I've got to give 10. There's something revelatory about these Opus 59 quartets, all 3 of them, and indeed mid-period Beethoven generally. And I think it's no coincidence that about this time, Beethoven wrote in one of his music books, "Let your deafness no longer be a secret, even in art." It's as if Beethoven had come to terms with his deafness musically, not just socially, and rather than hide from it, he was confronting it in his composing, which means, according to actual studies that have been made, Beethoven's writing at this time tends to rise in pitch towards higher notes during this period, just as he's losing those pitches and tones in his everyday life. In other words, his loss of hearing might actually be sharpening his composing, supplying something that was becoming lacking in his actual aural universe. These Razumovsky quartets are wonderful works, bold in ways that contemporary audiences found baffling. For example, a leading melody composed with the same note. Anyhow, our final 5 quartets are Beethoven's final 5 quartets, quite possibly the greatest works of art of all time. So, let's go and rank them. And immediately another surprise, another tie. Who'd have thunk it? The B flat has some of my favourite bits of all late Beethoven. The cavatina, obviously. This is the beautiful moment, beautiful in the score even, where Beethoven marks verklemmt, anguished or sobbing. And then of course there's that wonderful fast short scherzo. But maybe there's a design issue with this quartet. does it work better with the gross fugue as the finale? Over to you, comment section. As for number 12, I love this quartet. Every movement is delicious and lovely, and what is it about those scherzos or scherzandos or whatever they are, Beethoven is so good at writing them. They allow him to revel in energy and vigour and punch. It's Beethoven's final quartet, and I did not expect this to score so high. But averaging always suits consistency, and this is a consistent quartet. It's a beautifully concise sign-off to the genre, a pearly gem of a work, so why not? It's an odd bird, this quartet, so much more formal and concise than the 3 quartets that preceded it. It's got 4 movements, each of them in the right place, doing the right things. I described Beethoven going out with a smile here, and someone pulled me up on this in the last video. Well, there are a couple of earnest moments in this quartet, particularly the yes, that does sound rather like death shouting at you. Rather shocking and requires an entire video of its own to get into more detail on. However, Beethoven always calms such moments within the quartet, and the overall tone is humorous. Witty might even be a better word. Beethoven proving he could still pull off a classical Enlightenment quartet, but he could do it his way. Okay, next at number 2, the surprises just keep coming. This is generally considered Beethoven's greatest string quartet. At least he thought so himself, and Schubert agreed with that. It has unforgettable moments throughout. There's that sad fugue at the start. Those wonderful variations at the centre. And that fantastically abrasive finale. If I could only take one of these quartets away to a desert island, I'd pick the C-sharp minor. So why hasn't it won? I guess it's the scaffolding, those other shorter movements that are perhaps less consequential in themselves that Beethoven uses to facilitate the movement between movements. Perhaps that's what's brought down the average. Anyhow, no disparagement at all for what's at number 1, because it's also my favourite quartet. So much incredible stuff in here. Yes, that amazing second movement. Would a non-deaf Beethoven have written this? What I love about this movement is how it epitomises late Beethoven at his absolute best, moving effortlessly between the spiritually divine and the classically perfect. And then that middle movement, probably one of the single greatest things ever written by anyone. Beethoven takes 3 slow, fugal, harmonic, deep breaths. Interspersed with 2 moments of musical heaven. It's an amazingly controlled quartet, worthy winner, but then, like I said, I could have chosen number 14, or actually number 13. No joke of it, come to think of it. Anyhow, hope you enjoyed. Do let me know your own thoughts in the comment section, and do check out my new Dad Rock series on the other channel. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.